Chapter 28, The Angelica Touch by Lindsay J. Sedgwick. Can I show you this now, says Grace. Without actually waiting for an answer, she unfolds the computer supplement from one of the national newspapers. Didn't know you were a reader, says I. Ha ha, she says, opening it at the second last page. Is romance back in fashion, she reads. Phenomenon that is the romantichearts.com website, the only clue to the makers of this success story. 549 members in a month, up to 30% claiming to have been successfully matched, may lie in an ad for a pub called the Pirate Queen, and for the small town of Drisogue in which it resides, in County Donegal. Simon put in an ad for Drisogue, says I. Grace nods mutely. He thought, since Mum had one. He was meant to ask, what if someone tracks it back to us? But Grace is not listening, at least not to me. Grace. She gestures downstairs back to where Chris and Molly are standing. Isn't this meant to be a date? A pretend date, I say. Yeah, but like, they're talking business. Who does that on a date? Curious, we listen. So, says Chris, we find a weekend nobody else is using for anything else at all. Transform it into something special, create our own love fest. Never works, says Mum, the pragmatist. Of course it would, he says. No, think of the planning, she says, the organisation. Guppy, says Chris, convinced 22 single people to come stay in our hotel because she offered them tours to places of passion that may not even be real. Kitty has a waiting list for her blind date weekend in 2 weeks' time. Everyone loves romance, even if they say they can do without it. Look at us, wouldn't we love to have someone to hold us when it's cold, to share special moments with? To spill wine over? Mum smiles, as if Chris is a small child playing make-believe. I have Angelica. And she is special, says Chris. Mighty special to do this for her. Make Drisogue come alive so she has a future here if she wants one. Think outside the box for a minute. You've said no to every other idea I had. But what do we have to lose? Lisdoon Varna interrupts Mum. They have it sewn up. In October, says Chris. Wet, dark, miserable October. I'm talking spring. Lengthening, warm April evenings. Magical sunsets. Not too close to exams so the kids can help. We're a small community. For it to work, everyone has to be involved. These things take months to organise, says Mum. They don't just happen. He pulls out a notebook, sweeping her objections aside. I've been doing some research and a timeline. Apart from Lisdoon Varna, there's nothing like this. We have everything. Myth, folklore, history, the Atlantic Ocean and Wales. We pitch it midway between Romantic Festival and Pagan Love Fest. We can't lose. Chris parades around the barn like an evangelist. We incorporate Guppy's walking tours, one of Kitty's blind date weekends, create any number of new events, put up an open-air cinema to show classic romantic movies, Casablanca, Some Like It Hot, Le Cage aux Folles. Limit it to 3 days, but every hour of those days we offer something different. Every business in town will support it. The County Council has already said there's a fund there for rural development we can access. He pauses for breath. Think of it, Molly. We probably have the only stone man in the whole of Ireland. We have a dolman, groves of mistletoe. We have Guppy. Let's choose a weekend with a full moon, and then on the Saturday we host a Victorian ball. Nobody will be able to resist who has an ounce of romance in their body. Have you been talking to Angelica, says Mum. Not yet. Mind you, if you were to add matchmaking, we have her unique talent. She's 14, Chris. So she could communicate via headphones with Guppy, and Guppy does the matchmaking, wearing a velvet dress and rowan berries in her hair. Or not, he says quickly, because Mum's not leaping at the idea of my input. Molly, wouldn't you like to restore the Drisogue Arms to its heyday? More than anything, she says quietly. I've been trying to bring business in for 7 years and we're barely ticking over. She folds the tablecloth. There's a recession, Chris. People aren't travelling and they aren't staying in hotels. Everything's expensive. The ballroom is magnificent again. People don't sleep in a ballroom. So the Drisogue Arms is shabby genteel, he says. Informal chic. A taste of old Ireland. People are sick of impersonal chain hotels. We can bring them living history. Look at the scenery we have. The time and money it would take to organise a festival. Sponsorship and community involvement, he says. You really think we can do this? Chris nods. She smiles. A love fest. And no single supplement, he says, but we give a reduction if they share. They're conspirators now, carried away. Why are you so keen, says Mum. This is my home too, says Chris. If business doesn't turn around, there won't be enough income or life to keep Angelica here, and she loves this daft town. As do you. Oh, says Grace. But I've just seen the time and I need to go. Guppy and I struck a deal. She'd keep her walkers out of the far field this morning, so long as I wasn't late back to serve an early lunch in my Granuela garb. To be continued.